Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay.
All right, we'll give it a couple more minutes.
How you doing tonight, Philip?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
All right. Spent most of this beautiful day inside, but that's the life.
Yeah, most of my days are inside right now. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and get started. And as people come on, they come on. I'm going to call to order the Transportation Penny Advisory Committee meeting for Monday, January 25th. Are there any public comments that someone has signed up for today?
We didn't receive any in the office.
Okay. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the Office of Small Business Opportunities.
Hey, Phil, I'm a bit late. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Good, good. It wouldn't connect.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year for those of you that I haven't seen for the new year. My name is Erica Wade. I'm the manager for the Office of Small Business Opportunities. And just to kind of go over our report since we've been together last. So if you scroll down to our contract participation, as you can see, as of the 14th of January, we had 42,019,418 payments. That's the dollar amount that has been paid to our certified SLBEs. And you can see the total amount has been 220 million. And our uncertified, which is our prime contractors, payments to them was 179,047,628. As far as our SLBE status, we're holding strong. In the month of December, January, we had 12 recertification applications that came in. And as you can see, we've been holding strong as far as retaining our SLBEs, which is pretty good. We have two pending applications right now. So we're really striving to hit that triple digit number. And considering, what has gone on with COVID, we were still able to maintain our SLBEs. And the latest SLBE goal that we've been able to set, we just had a pre-bid last week, I think it was 7th of January, where we set a 23% goal on the Nice's roadside project. Some of the things that we've been involved in, just going back from December, our staff, along with our GCS staff, the whole team, we got together and we was able to feed our senior resources during the holidays. We volunteered with them. Of course, we've been doing some internal training, cross-training among our internal staff, just to make sure we've been doing some strategic planning, preparing for 2021. And in speaking about that, on the 28th, which is Thursday, we have our first webinar, Funding Opportunities for 2021. The question is, are you ready? So as of today, we have about 220 attendees that have actually signed up. And some of the topics we're going to talk about, grant opportunities. Of course, you know, the PPP, the second round has hit. So a lot of folks want to know, where can we go to get funding, what the requirements are. And we actually have a grant writer. One of the questions we always get, where's the free money? We hear about the loans, but everybody wants to know, where's the free money? So we have a grant writer that would also be presenting at the workshop. Some of our presenters include SBA. We have the City of Columbia. Ms. Melissa Lindler would also be on the panel. And we have two bankers, Community Works and Community Loan Fund. It will also be some of our presenters that's on the call. And like I said, that's on the 28th, which is Thursday. And that's from 10 to 12. We will be recording it. I'm not sure if IT will allow us to go live, but in any event, we will upload the workshop onto the Richland County's YouTube channel. So those who didn't have a chance to get on can go back and watch it later. So those are some of the things, as you can see, some of the topics that we have coming up. We're working on getting the dates and getting our presenters, and we'll give you more information and update you on further workshops that we have coming for 2021. Are there any questions?
None from me, Erica. Just to say, your report is very encouraging. Your numbers continue to be at a very high level.
Thank you.
And you're showing growth month on month. You're almost at the highest number you ever have been. So clearly
Yes.
you're providing an extremely valuable service to the SLBs.
Thank you.
Other than your webinar on Thursday, do you have any broader long-term strategic goals for the year, or is it just focused on growing your service and reaching out to more and more small local businesses?
Well, one of our main focus is reaching out to our small business community. And, you know, with everything that's going on, just kind of listening and hearing and finding out what are the needs, what are you asking for, and trying to connect our small businesses to the resources that's available. That's one of the main reasons why we decided to have this particular workshop starting out. We were going to do something different, but, you know, you just stop and listen and find out what is actually needed right now.
Right.
So some of our workshops is subject to change. Even last year, we listened to some of the council members that say, hey, what about coming into our areas and doing something in our area? So that's another thing that we're talking about, potentially just going into the different districts and taking our services to the people. I mean, right now we're virtual, but hopefully when things get back and we get face to face, that is something that we're talking about, doing within the year. And of course, trying to increase our numbers. And one good thing that we've been able to do, even during COVID, instead of just setting goals on transportation projects, we have now been able to set goals on countywide projects. So that's something new that's, that we started last year. And thanks to procurement, they've kept us on board, or they kept us in, updated on any projects. So we've been able to set a lot of goals. We've actually had sheltered market projects where SLBs can actually perform, those projects, just one SLB or, performing as a prime for the project. So we've got some good things that's coming up, and we're just going to keep working at it for 2021.
Good for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to the transportation program update.
Thank you, Philip. I'd just like to welcome to the meeting tonight. We've got County Administrator Brown online. We've got the new ACA, Lori Thomas, as well as two of our new council persons. We've got Mr. Walker, as well as Miss English. Welcome to TPAC meeting. As you can see, we've got some general information we want to just introduce to you. That coming up this week, we have council retreat the 28th and 29th. We'll be presenting at the 4:30 hour on January 28th. Good news wise, Transportation Department will be moving out of its current location at 2009 Hampton and back to 2000 Hampton. We pray sometime in February. I was just corresponding with risk management, whose spaces we'll be moving into, as well as Mr. Randy Prue from Operational Services to update a timeline for that. Department-wise, we have made an offer to, and the person accepted for our administrative coordinator position. This has been vacant since March. Hiring has been impacted a little bit by the current pandemic, but we're real excited with the new coordinator. As soon as the paperwork gets processed, we should be going to new person should be attending a new employee orientation sometime in February. Additionally, we're finalizing a new department position with a finance manager for transportation. This is another one we're real excited about. I just submitted a draft job requisition to our finance director to chop on for me and make sure that it's compliant with what we need. So hopefully that'll be final approval sometime in February. We can get that advertised. Just current events. We did have our quarterly Greenway advisory meeting at the beginning of the month. It was very well attended, and discussion was very active. A lot of questions on the realignment, the Greenway realignment, and where we are with those I guess five projects, of which three we're really moving out on. Great stakeholder involvement. A lot of active discussion, as I mentioned, and everyone seemed to be pleased with the result, and they're looking forward to the next one, next quarter, which should be April timeframe. I'm going back to December council approvals. We did have the Decker Woodfield Neighborhood Improvement Faraway Drive Sidewalk contract was approved and to be awarded to AOS contractors. AOS has been a really good contractor for us and does some good work. Dirt Road Package K was also awarded to McClam Associates. This is for 4 dirt roads, districts 10 and 11 currently. So we have a pre-con meeting coming up for Faraway Sidewalk as well as Dirt Road Package K. Pre-construction update. It went a little bit more extensive than what we normally do. Just we haven't really talked about a lot of what we're starting or re-engaging with design work. So Atlas Road has been a large undertaking. As you recall, designs were fairly complete with the rescoping approved by council last year. It's been split into 2 phases. One being the Garner's Ferry to Shop, which is going to be widened to 5 lanes still, and then the Shop to Bluff, which will be remain a 2-lane road with sidewalks. We just under contract with their utility coordinator to start working on these plans for the phase 1, which is the 5-lane widening, as well as we have right-of-way actions continuing for that section with our condemnation attorneys. Moving down to Blythewood widening, we are waiting on appraisals from 2 of the property owners that consist of about 5 parcels up there. Once that gets done, we'll be able to go back into negotiations to try to achieve a settlement. And if we can achieve a settlement for those required parcels, we will recommend going condemnation actions. Blythewood improvements is going around very well. Our OAT is working on finalized right-of-way plans so we can start getting the right-of-way work authorization and start getting those pieces of parcels from the folks. The plans will be sent for SCDOT for that review. SCDOT, once they're fine with what was being presented, they will issue an authorization to proceed for right of way. Just as an aside, both Economic Development and Transportation spoke at the Blythewood Chamber back in December, giving them an update not only on Blythewood widening and Blythewood improvement projects, but also a little bit about where the program's been the past year. I believe it was well received. We got some good feedback and follow-ups. And I think Malcolm's shaking his head up there. So
Absolutely.
he was listening in to the crowd. So
Yeah. No, that was very much appreciated, Michael, and I'm hopeful that relationship will continue. Just as a sideline, I've told the mayor that I probably will have to roll off the TPAC in the course of the next month or so because of other commitments and one thing and another. But they will be looking around to find a representative, so that there will be continuity. I will certainly keep going until that alternative is found, and I just would encourage you to keep Blythewood in mind, and you will always be welcome at the chamber meetings because they really appreciate those updates.
yeah, I appreciate that. And I'd like to recognize Ms. Chris Kiefer from Government Community Services, who definitely ensures that transportation is engaged with the Blythewood community, and she does a good job of helping facilitate getting folks up there to talk. So
Absolutely. Yeah, for us, it's really the most important thing because it impacts everybody every single day. So I think that's why we're so anxious to keep the conversation going, to keep the information flowing, and hopefully maintaining understanding and support.
okay, thank you. Moving on, we do have, excuse me, Polo Road widening is design is back underway. We've had an OET assigned. A service order has been approved and issued, and they've begun the collecting data for the design of the project. If you recall, that went from a widening to a intersection improvement. It also includes some data collection to determine whether the fifth intersection requires improvement or not. Spears Creek Church Road widening, service orders signed, and similar to Polo, the OET has begun data collection for design of that particular project. That project will also require some coordination with conservation, who has another project that's within that area. Bull Elmwood intersection, working on a stormwater engineering a new stormwater engineering plan. Because there's been some significant changes in the utilities over the past 2 years. That work authorization is in the process of being issued, so we can get that work underway. In addition to, we're waiting for some information back from the Church of God, which is that key property owner in the corner of Bull and Elmwood, so we can get into hopefully come to a settlement.
Do you mind just talking a little bit more about the significant changes that were with the utilities or the issues that were involved?
Certainly, yeah. Allison Steele, do you have a little more information on that than I do? I remember Rashid was talking about it, but I didn't pick up on everything he mentioned.
Yeah.
Or maybe Rashid. You're on the phone, aren't you?
I don't see her, Michael.
I got Allison and Rashid both on the
she's
call.
muted. There we go.
Michael, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Okay. I think there have been some new utilities installed along that area. I think they're mostly companies like Dominion, Time Warner Cable, things like that. There have not been significant utilities like water or sewer or anything like that. It's communications mostly.
That's good.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything further on Bull Elmwood intersection?
No, we do have to. There are some issues with the water line. When the original utility coordination was done, they did not find the depth of the water line. And the city plans being as old as they are, they did not show the depth of the water line. So our OET is going to have to go out and pothole the road and a couple of locations to find out the depth to see if it's going to affect our storm drainage installation.
Appreciate that. Moving on, Shop Road Extension 2. As you know, this is going from the previous terminus of the Shop Run Extension 1 at Longwood and Shop, and it's supposed to wander up to Garner's Ferry Road. We were made aware, and we've been working the last few weeks with economic development on the proposed rail spur coming off the Norfolk Southern line that bisects that area and in support of the Pinewood industrial site. So we've been coordinating with them on the preferred railroad alignment, as well as the impacts and to our future proposed road alignment. And we've been deconflicting that, and we think we're in a good place. So that railroad spur will be built before we even finish the design for the road. So it's really more on us to be able to accommodate their design, but they've been very gracious and was trying to maximize the economic development land use, work with the road and how it will, go through that area and then eventually connect up to Garner's Ferry. And that road should be getting an OET assigned to it this year. Moving on, Three Rivers Greenway. It's been a real grind for this one, sitting at 99% for a long time. We do finally, I believe, knock on wood, have the approval for the final as-builts nearing approval in the next week or so. What that'll allow us to do is have those turned over to the city, and the city will formally accept the completed portion of the Greenway. The bad news this past month or so is the remaining section, which we call 1B, which is the remaining part of the connect, which is we call the Boyd Island connector, goes where it currently terminates by a maintenance road down by the railroad tracks, and it goes to the Boyd Island, just south of the trail. Will be delayed. Construction will be delayed likely to the summer due to excessive water levels. Without getting into too much details, a culvert dam had to be installed in order to dry that area and allow us to put footers in for the pedestrian walkway and conduct construction. Conditions were really unsafe with the water levels this winter. So rather than having an expensive dam get washed down, sent to Charleston, better sense was to delay it until the water levels do decrease when the weather gets warmer, and then do the construction then. The contractor has stated that it would take about 90 days total to finish that portion of the Three Rivers Greenway Saluda Riverwalk project.
Is there any concerns once that construction's done if we hit water levels like we currently have been having with this very wet winter, that there could be significant damage done to construction?
Well, one thing we've noticed, there's always concern, but it is a river walk with elevated walkways in a river in a flood zone, just like the rest of it. So you're going to see, and hopefully not, certain erosion down near the foot of some of the elevated walkways. Portions could be underwater at some point. If you ever, I wouldn't hope you're not, but if you're ever down there when we've had high water, you've seen the bridge that was built by the River Alliance over to Boyd Island, acting like a strainer of sorts, collecting all kinds of good stuff because the water's been so high. Or if you've peered across to West Columbia, you've definitely seen that portion underwater from time to time, particularly last year. So it's just how it's designed. It's built to survive, but at the end of the day, water always wins. But you can do your best to hold it back and mitigate those risks. Anything else on Three Rivers? Dirt Road Package K is in closeout. Just saw something about that today, so that's tracking to close out. Southeast Richland Neighborhood CERN project, Rabbit Run Connector, which we're trying to figure out what the right name is right now. Construction is 80% complete. They just completed a sidewalk on the Lower Richland Boulevard portion where it wraps around from the larger sidewalk along Rabbit Run. So that's almost complete, or is completed at this point. We're looking to be completed sometime in the next few months. Just issued a change order on it that should be coming across the administrator's desk to make us compliant with SCDOT, but nothing drastic. And that's progressed very, very well. Resurfacing queue is still waiting for a contractor to complete this final list, a few items. It's been kind of hanging there for a while, and it's just a matter of the contractor getting out there and doing those, not pick list, but punch list. That is not a new word. Then finally, as far as construction projects, I always get a lot of questions from Hardscrabble Road. Although the penny pays a good portion, or pays several $1 million, almost $30 million for that project. It is an SCDOT project. So when we had our meeting with SCDOT the other week, I asked them what they think their substantial completion is going to be, and they're looking at late 2022 at the moment. And of course, I skipped a few because I printed on both sides of the paper here. I apologize for that. If you go back to page 4 of your agenda, Crane Creek Greenway, waiting on some OET to respond to the city for some comments, and then actually start working on the alignment, with the proposed alignment. That Crane Creek was one of those 5 projects that were realigned. Gills Creek, a lot of activity on that. It is under current service order. The other segmented service orders were combined into one for efficiency. A walkthrough of the Greenway is actually planned for this week. We've been doing a lot of coordination with DOT and the City of Columbia for some parking areas, which have been a challenge for some of the previous scoping. So those are some of the things that are in the works right now. Smith, Rocky Branch Greenway, one of the realigned. OET had been assigned as under a service order, and they're in the early stage of coordination within the area and with those stakeholders. An exciting one coming up is Sunset Road Sidewalks. We are waiting for final construction plans and those construction plans to be approved by DOT. They stated in our meeting the other week that they would have them by the end of January. Once we have that, we can start moving forward with advertising that. Garnish Ferry Road, Harmon. The project was descoped in order to, it was descoped previously. Staff met with OET, confirmed designs were completed before as the best option. So there's been a lot of different moving parts with that particular intersection going back. West to restore the project to its original scope and make the project whole again will go to committee in February. So this will be actually an agenda item for the next Transportation Ad Hoc Committee in a few weeks. If that final scope gets approved as it is, and be able to bring it back to its original scope, that one will be able to be advertised probably this year too. Skipping back then, the construction updates, Decker Woodfield NIP Neighborhood Improvement Project, and particularly the Faraway Sidewalk pre-construction meeting is scheduled for this week. North Springs Harrington intersection is complete. We have the remaining punch list item was actually completed the other week, and we need to turn our right of way over to SCDOT. One item did emerge within the last week or two was a fire hydrant that when they installed the curb and gutter, it wasn't high enough to accommodate the hoses, which obviously that's kind of an important thing. So that's being remedied now. Polo Road shared use path began back in April, and it is moving exceptionally well. Anticipate completion sometime this spring. That was no change from the last report. Harrison Road Sidewalk is moving along also very well. Looking at 95% complete, and we're trying to schedule a final inspection with SCDOT. That should complete sometime early in 2021 also. Everyone's favorite, or at least John's favorite, Innovista Phase 2, Green Tree Phase 2. We're looking at a 30% completion. There's they're continuing to install the mechanically stabilized earth walls 5, 6, and 7, which are on the university side, and followed by installing drainage on the opposite side of the tracks, where there's the apartment side, if you understand the geometry. That is, it is behind schedule, particularly due to railroad flagger issues. Looking at still a completion or a substantial completion sometime in March of 2022. I know, John, you have more questions, don't you?
You're on mute, Sean.
Sorry,
You're
I have a mute button and my mute button wasn't working. And so, yeah, but no, I'll save my questions for new business in a bit.
Okay, thanks. Got it. Okay, moving on, Clemson widening. Final walkthrough occurred back in December 2020. Punch list sent to the contractor, and it is nearly complete. That'll be a huge widening project to be completed, and real excited to get that one done, as most people are. North Main, its substantial completion estimate is now May 2021. About 4 months later than we hoped, but it is tracking for those kind of dates right now. Finishing up this final phase 3 and phase 4 work. Once those are completed, I believe they can move into getting that final inspection scheduled, and then looking for that May, June 2021 substantial completion or completion turnover. Going back to page 5, and I apologize for skipping around. It serves me right to print on both sides of the paper. Currently, I mentioned package K had closed. It's under award. Resurface package R closed for 52 roads back in December. That one's going to the ad hoc committee in February for follow-on award to council. Upcoming solicitations, we have a transportation improvement contract we've developed for Old Garner's Ferry Road. If you've ever driven on Old Garner's Ferry Road, you'll know why it needs to be improved and corrected. It's very damaged, and it's not a very good road right now. Alpine Sidewalk, the bid package is being developed for advertisement sometime in spring and summer. Sidewalk package 10, you might have seen that in OSBO's list. It's being re-advertised. We're hoping this month, if not the beginning of February. It was advertised previously in November, but the intended awardee was non-responsive, and the next lowest bidder was not within the prescribed 10%. So therefore, by our procurement ordinance, we had to re-advertise it. So it definitely sets us back a little bit, but it'll be coming back out advertised soon. And if you may not recall, but that Clemson sidewalk it's down near the frontage road at the south end of Clemson, down near I-20, and it crosses over down to Percival Road. I mentioned Bull Elmwood intersection. As much as we wanted to get that out this spring, a little bit of the delays with that final parcel is just caused us to push that back to later in 2021. And then the same thing for Blythewood widening. We're really handcuffed at the speed of those we're trying to negotiate these parcels with. So until we either settle or move to condemnation, Blythewood widening in particular can't be advertised. And really the same thing applies for Bull Elmwood intersection, though we don't think it'll get to that. The final page 6 is just our typical monthly summary of expended to date. We're continuing to improve on this each month. If you note down on the bike pedestrian greenway section, it shows those realignments of referendum funding to the projects that were approved in the new greenway alignment ordinance. And we'll be able to update those a little bit better as we move forward, as well as some of the other projects. If you overall, looking at the intersection improvements, we're really getting to the end of that list. Can't specifically see it on here, but as far as sidewalks go, once we advertise these next few, I believe we'll down to like 10 or 11 sidewalks yet to be built, and some of those are going to be built with some of the widenings. And then, as far as dirt road paving, stand by for an update on that. We've got about 13 that we've resurrected through a lot of detailed and hard work analysis by Jeff McNesby and some others, trying to see what was put on hold and why, and see what can be remedied so we can get those out to a design package sometime in 2021 also. And with that, I will be glad to answer, attempt to answer any questions for you.
Michael, looking over the budget and expended to date. One thing I did note was the Bluff Road widening phase 2. The expended to date from last time we met went up about $52 million. I was just kind of curious what that big change was.
I'm sorry, Phil, where did you see that?
So compared to our November meeting, the North Main Street widening went from 49.5 million roughly to 101 million this time around. So I was just kind of curious what the big jump was, if things were getting caught up, or it just seemed a pretty big change from a couple months.
I did notice that. Let me look into that. I'll get back with you in this group,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Because yeah, and it looks like it's way over what its estimate is and all as well.
Yeah, I just bear in mind, we're still capped at the $35.4 million, and
Mhm.
anything above that is responsibility of the City of Columbia. For those of you who don't know, the City of Columbia did secure a Tiger grant for a good bunch of that money, or now called a build grant through the Federal Department of Transportation. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, let me go back to that. I'm not sure if that was a typo on our part or what happened, but yeah, let me get back with you and correct that, Philip. And what I'll do is I'll go back, and if it was a mistake, we'll go back and correct the document that's actually posted. So I need to update the agenda anyway. We got some of the items in late, so I'm just going to go and revise all of that and repost it for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I will say also, it is nice to see that a lot of these Greenway projects are starting to move forward. So I'm definitely encouraged by that.
We are too. We're, since we took over the program, there's a lot of back and forth with it. And in fact, getting it realigned, and so we can actually do something with the money that gets a proper result is fantastic, and getting them under design. So we're real excited too. Anything else from anybody I can try to answer?
Michael, I wouldn't want to have a very long discussion about this, but are we in the clear with the Department of Revenues now, over the ways the penny tax funds were being used in Richland County, and all that argument and debate and court cases that was going on? Is that still pending? Is that still hanging over us?
Yeah, from my understanding, there's still or arbitration, I believe. And if Mr. Brown doesn't want to jump in on that one, I can get an answer and then get back with you all on that. I haven't specifically been able to follow it. I'm not necessarily involved in that. We're just following the prescribed guidelines to make sure that we're compliant and not doing anything else that's inappropriate.
Right. It's just been hanging around for so long, and these matters can certainly take years to resolve. But as a TPAC, it would be helpful just to have an overview of our standing. Mr. Brown, can you give us some comments on that?
I can. I don't know if you want, Mr. John had his hand up. I don't know if he had a follow-up question that I would answer at the same time before I address that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just wanted to know that if repayment is necessary, is that expected to come from other parts of Richland County's funding, or would it come from the penny funding if there is a repayment that's required?
And thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. That's a good question, and I appreciate you using the term "if." There is still current litigation that is active, so it is not resolved. If the Richland County is required to pay back funds to the penny program, it would come from within Richland County, so it would be a transfer of funds, so from one fund to another.
Gotcha.
And that is ongoing without end in sight, I guess, at this point?
Unfortunately, it is in the hands of all of the legal folks at this time. So they are currently going through that process. But right now, to Mr. Niermeyer's point, we have anything that we are aware of or there were questions about that we felt needed to be addressed. We have already done that. We feel confident that the information that was shared with us, that we have taken appropriate steps to remedy those questions. And right now, everything else, as you heard, is just a matter of disagreement between the parties.
Right, right.
Is Richland County appropriately staffed to, I guess, wade through this situation? I know that our legal counsel has seemed to have had a bit of a transition over the last couple of months.
The county does still have tenured legal staff on hand, as well as contract attorneys to take care of his business. So I believe we are sufficiently legally covered. I'm certainly not an attorney, but I believe based on just my general understanding that we have people on staff who can continue the county's business effectively.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we'll move on to the Comet program update.
Hey, Philip, I hadn't received anything from the Comet, so I'm not sure if anyone's on or they'll be able to talk to it.
Okay.
If I do get any materials from them, I will amend the agenda appropriately or add that material in.
I guess they will not be joining us tonight. So we'll move on with that. Right now, the next scheduled meeting is for February 22nd, 2021. And kind of in line with that is a TPAC membership that we need to talk about. Yeah, as Malcolm has already mentioned that his term is coming due as well. And in addition to that, my term is actually effectively ending February 1st. I can stay on for a little bit longer until a replacement is put in. But I've already started to commit myself to future other boards at this point. And so I will need to phase out at some point. I hope that we can start getting the membership up a little bit more and replace some of the people that have not been in place for a while. But I will stay on for probably at least 1 or 2 more months. I think that I can commit to. At that point, I've already talked to John. I would like him to serve as interim chair until there can be a formal vote and nominations put forth. And of course, to do that, we have to have a quorum, which is sometimes tough to do. So John, I appreciate you, volunteering and accepting being the interim chair once I step out. And your commitment's always been there, and you do the work and you do the research and ask good questions. And so I definitely feel it's being put in good hands going forward. So with that, I guess we need to, I'm going to try to reach back out to City of Columbia and make sure that they are trying to address the lack of members representing City of Columbia. And if there's any open spots in your jurisdiction, I encourage you to reach out to your municipality and say as such, since we really need to get the membership back up so we can have a quorum. I think the people that are coming, they're committed and have a really good understanding and ask good questions, but really need to get full membership back as soon as we can. With that, is anybody else have any other comments they'd like to make?
Yeah, Philip, happy to take over interim, but yeah, the generally filling out this committee is going to be important to making sure that it is productive and is also doing the work of the citizenry who are contributing to this penny program. And so we definitely need to get a more full group pulled together. I have started on my end trying to reach out to some professional organizations to find folks who are going to be interested to try and recruit, and we'll continue to do that. If you like, I can also reach out to Ashley Jenkins with the City of Columbia. She kind of coordinates all their nominations for the city, and so we can work with her to get those pulled together. And we get some applications in. That's the first step, is to have a qualified pool to draw from. And then within Richland County, do we need to coordinate with someone specific to I guess get our nominees in front of the council, or should I just reach out directly to whoever I find on council who might be willing to volunteer? Michael, do you have any guidance on how we best navigate that?
Yeah, good question. Typically, I think if a council member has someone they have in mind, they would tell the clerk. Clerk of council would be doing the announcements for openings, and those nominations from either municipality or from within Richland County would get funneled into that office. So,
okay. I'll reach out to that office to help us coordinate and start advertising for those positions, and we'll try and wrangle that. And Philip, I appreciate you sticking around for a little while to try and bridge the gap here, but we'll try and get these appointees in a quorum as quickly as we possibly can to avoid me having to be the interim chair for too long. So.
Well, the point is that hopefully you will be the chair going forward.
I tell you, we might find some go-getters in some of these organizations I'm reaching out to. That's the hope.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, John, I'll actually email you. I'm trying to find the email. I had reached out to someone at City of Columbia, but I have not gotten a response yet.
Okay.
So your contact might be more receptive than mine has been.
Okay.
All right. Well, is there any other comments anybody would like to bring up before we adjourn this meeting?
Philip, do you know when the term ends for me for Arcadia Lakes representation? I don't have a clue.
One of the things that we found when we were kind of discussing this is that the county's records for terms and when those terms are supposed to end aren't matching up with the other municipalities. So I think Michael said that mine may have ended like a year or two ago, I believe. But according to the city's records, mine ends on February 1st. So there's definitely some debate. So you might want to reach out to Arcadia Lakes and see if what they have, and see if we can marry that up, because that's
okay.
Yeah, Larry, my list doesn't have you as ever having your term expire. So that's probably not the answer you want.
Yeah, I think a review of everyone's start dates and bylaws would be a good way to get us reoriented and restarted. So we'll focus on that, and we'll reach out to the clerk of council to get that rolling.
All right. Well, with that, I hope everybody has a good rest of the month. Stay warm, and we'll meet back February 22nd. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone.